Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Sunday. And of course, I want to open up with happy 4th of July weekend for everybody. I hope you've had a good, enjoyable time. I hope it's been safe, but I hope you've maybe enjoyed some time off work, enjoyed some time with your family. And I want to welcome you to episode 60 of Eating the Elephant. For those of you unfamiliar, this is where we talk about Hurricane Michael recovery. We talk about insurance information and some other things. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. My most faithful watcher and the person that's taught me Facebook, Pat Saveston. I want to dedicate this entire episode today to a new way of hurricane prep. I know this is a series about recovery, but I think part of the recovery process is preparing for the next potential situation. And I think it's very, very important that we not sit back and wait for the next one to happen. Let's plan, let's be aggressive, and frankly, if this were to happen again, based on all of our experience, we should all be better prepared because we've learned some lessons and we can take that experience, unfortunate as it is, and take it forward. If we don't take advantage of that experience, frankly, that's on us. And I'd like to help you a little bit today with changing your thinking just a little bit and going a little bit beyond getting batteries and bottled water, which I hope everybody has already done for hurricane season. I'd like for you to change the way you think just a little bit. And I'll tell you, for the longest time when I was doing hurricane prep and things such as that, it was always, I was planning, for a few days until I came back to the house. And when I went and did relief work in after Hurricane Katrina in southern Mississippi, that really changed the way I thought, because the devastation over there of the infrastructure, the roads, the utilities, things such as that was very much like what we experienced after Michael. And I will tell you, I do an awful lot of catastrophe planning because as an insurance guy, you probably need to be ready when something hits. And so I've done this for years, but I will tell you, on my ride back from southern Mississippi that first time after Katrina, I scrapped and rewrote my entire catastrophe plan for my family and for my office. I don't want you to think anymore about going away for a week or going away for a few days. I think it's very, very important that we think more about what if we come back to nothing. And I don't say that to panic anyone, but I say that to let you know this is all about the planning process. So my thought would be sit there, think about it just a little bit, and close your eyes and say, okay, if I go away for a week and I come back and my house looks like an angry child has had at it, that is where you need to plan to. That is the place you need to plan yourself toward. And I don't think many of us do that. It's a very painful thing to do for some of us to think about our house being all gone. But frankly, some people did come back to that, and I'd like them to be in a little bit better position if it were to happen to us again. I want to start with a list. I apologize for reading this, but there's no way I can get to this. I want to stress, I'm not talking about batteries and water and fix a flat. There are a million lists out there that you can download off the internet. I hear this internet thing's going to catch on, so you can probably find some information there. I want to talk to you about sort of your financial and very, very personal recovery items. And I'm going to read a list of things here. You don't need to worry about this. You don't have to, I promise you're not going to have to go back and replay this. I'll post this list on our Facebook page. But some things that you need to prepare for and pack and make a list now. Your ID, driver's license, medical information, military ID, for everybody traveling. Take your passports with you, that sort of thing. Cash and a checkbook. Cash is king. When there's no power, there's no credit card machines. So cash is the way things work, and it was certainly that way right after Michael. Do some planning, think it really through, think how much cash you're going to need, and then take twice that much cash would be my advice. You're going to want proof of residence. Even if it's on your ID, it's a good idea to take maybe a copy of a recent utility bill, a lease agreement if you're renting. An awful lot of people had problems with that were renters trying to get back to their homes because they didn't have anything that showed proof of where they live. And if we're locked down trying to keep everybody safe and keep looters away, then you still need to be able to find a way to get back to your place. Your home insurance. Get your policy information together. Get your 1-800 number to report to the insurance company if you have to. Get your agent contact information. My advice is to take this information. What I would do, there's usually an 800 number on the front of your policy, and I would write my agent's name and phone number on the top of that as well, and then take pictures of it with your cell phone, and that way you have it right there with you. You know you can contact somebody. The day after the storm, our office was down, obviously with no power and connectivity, so most of our clients very early on reported things directly to the insurance company. But very quickly after that, you may want to be able to talk to your agent, and so you want that information there as well. Again, put it on your phone. Your car insurance, both for the car that you're in, of course you need to have that in your glove compartment all the time, but also for any vehicles you left behind. If those are damaged, you're going to want to be able to report those claims as well. So knowing the kind of coverage you have and how to get in touch with that provider, if it's different than your homeowner's provider, is very, very important as well. I think I mentioned health insurance, but everybody needs to have your health insurance card. We had a lot of injuries, and obviously with the hospital being down, it becomes more important. Government benefit documentation, such as Social Security, VA benefits, TANF, any of that sort of thing. If you have ID cards, if you have information to log in, electronic benefits, things like that, you need to have that information with you because you may be going longer than you plan. Banking information. Number one, have a rough idea of what your cash balances are so you'll know what you've got available to you. And bring a list of account numbers, routing numbers, login information, passwords. I would write down the branch and the phone number of the branch of the bank that you bank at, as well as the 800 number. Let's say you're with a large bank like a Regions or a Wells Fargo. Write down a local contact and phone number, and also write down the 800 number that you can contact in case that bank branch is damaged or out of power when you're trying to get in touch with somebody. I would take all my online information, user IDs and passwords. If you need to access things, you need a list of those, okay? Payment information for things like your mortgage, your car, your other loans. Know your due dates, about when they are, because you're going to lose track of those kind of details if you don't have them written down in the chaos following the storm. I would take car registration for any vehicles you left behind, because if they get buried under a bunch of oak trees, you'll need that registration to give to the insurance company in order to get a payout, because you'll turn that car over to them most likely. So that's something that's going to be very important. Employment information. You may need this similarly for access. Say you work in a different part of the town. Maybe you work over in Callaway and you live at the beach. Getting across Hathaway Bridge is going to be a challenge if you don't have proof that you work across that bridge. Bring a pay stub, an ID, even a name tag sometimes is good enough to talk to an officer at a roadblock and let them know that you really are going where you belong. Medication, and that includes not just medication, but I would take a list of your prescriptions. I would take copies of those if you can. You need contact information for your pharmacist and for your doctor, because if you run out of those prescriptions while you're gone, you're going to have to find a way to get them refilled. Ideally, if it's something that you take all the time, every month, say, then you can maybe have those with, you can move those very quickly to a larger pharmacy if you're not with a hometown pharmacy. But what would be very helpful is to know how to contact the pharmacy where you're registered, and again, the doctor that's responsible for giving you that prescription. Photos. We've talked about photos quite a bit. You don't have to go crazy. Do not do video. It is really challenging to sit down and watch an hour's worth of video of just your home, and I'll tell you, no adjuster on the planet's going to do it. But take photos of the inside and outside of your home, including any big items outside. Say you have a big patio set or something like that, and then take pictures of the inside. You don't really have to go crazy, but it needs to be enough to be a really good reminder to you of what was in your home if it's not there when you get back. Open drawers, open cabinets, take photos there. Pay special attention, as I always say, to closets, because we tend to tuck away things. You need to think when you're taking these pictures, what's hidden? What don't I see immediately? Because everybody remembers their couch and their 50-inch TV. What they don't remember is that little knickknack that got tucked away in the back of a kitchen cabinet because you weren't using it. But it still has value, and you want to be able to put that on a list if need be when you come home. Make a list of critical phone numbers. Family that you want to get in touch with. This is going to be something completely up to you. Mostly people that you want to let know you're okay, or be able to contact and make sure they're okay. And again, I think you need to have a physical copy of this. I realize we all rely on our phones for everything, but let's say in the chaos of the storm your phone gets wet or dropped or something else happens to it. Maybe you forgot your charger or you can't charge it anywhere. Do not depend upon your phone being your savior in this case. It very well may be, but having a paper backup for all these things is a great idea. So this list works for everybody. I want to add a couple of special situations for some of you that may have some special things. If you have pets, proof of ownership is a great idea. the microchip information for your pet is a good idea, but you also want to have contact information for their vet in case you need to pull some sort of vet records at some point. And you need to put a tag on their collar that's got your phone number and your name. Running down a microchip after a storm as devastating as Michael might have taken days or weeks. And if someone could simply pick up a phone and maybe get in touch with you, that would save everybody an awful lot of worry and an awful lot of heartache. So do both of those things. If you have special kinds of paperwork like trusts, powers of attorney, things like that, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you have those items, bring copies of those with you as well. And if you have special medical needs, or one of the people in your party or in your family has special medical needs, like special medical equipment or something like that, think through what kind of documentation or information you might need about that as well. And if you have appraisals of any special items such as jewelry, guns, antiques, you have a big piano, something like that, special items or items that wouldn't be in every 2,000 square foot house in this town, you might want to consider. If you don't have appraisals, you might want to think about it. If you don't have appraisals, at least get get some pictures of those specific items. I realize that's quite a list, and again, I'll promise I'll post it so you don't have to try to come back through. But talking through that, I'm trying to make a point with you that this is information that takes up very, very little space, but it's very, very important to you in the recovery process, especially if you can't get back home. We've talked to lots of people who maybe left town or went to a relative's house and came back to almost nothing. And there's an awful lot of things that they bumped their heads on that they could have saved themselves a lot of trouble with better planning. I didn't plan quite as well as I should have last time, and I'm going to do better next time. I want to add a couple more things to think about that are not directly items that you're going to want to do. And I want you to hang in there with me for a minute because I have some very specific things I want to tell you to do with these items. Ask your kids what's important to them. They might surprise you. And you know, the special blanket or special toy or stuffed animal they have is pretty obvious, and that's going to change pretty rapidly as kids grow older, but they might surprise you. And the other thing is, in the chaos of trying to get up, get out, get packed, and evacuate, you might forget. So put those items on your list. Even if you think they're going to change later, it will be a reminder to you that you need to go back and pick up a particular item for your child. When you're talking about other things to take with you, I would do that sort of exercise where you plan. You've been asked probably before, if your house caught on fire, what would the thing be that you'd run in and save? For me, it's a portrait of my daughter, and it went with us when we left the house. But close your eyes and think of that. If there's something of special sentimental value that you need to take with you, then do. Make sure you protect it and it doesn't get damaged as you're jumping in and out of vehicles and getting wet and things like that. But think that through and see if that's important to you. Family photos, we put a big Tupperware thing together, a big Rubbermaid thing with, it was pretty heavy duty, snap down handles. We put all of our photos in that. If I was more ambitious, I would digitize them. I think that'd be great, but I just didn't have the time or interest to do it. I'm a little bit too lazy to. At the end of the day, I'd say to remember all of these things, all the stuff in your house is just stuff. As long as you got your family with you and you have the documentation you need to get them handled appropriately, everything else can be replaced. The stuff of sentimental value, an insurance company can't buy you, but again, you worry about the other things. I want to worry about getting you back where you need to be from a financial point of view. Here's what I want you to do with this information. Again, I'm going to post this list on our webpage, on our Facebook page, but I want you to be very specific in your planning and your prep. First thing I want you to do, if you don't already have one, is go get a safe deposit box. Looking at the bank's website, I just picked a random large bank. It's anywhere between $30 and $120 a year, depending on the size of box you want, and you can get away with a small one. Promise me, I promise you can. $30 a year. That's pretty simple to put all these valuable documents in. Your originals of most of these things should go in that box, and you'll be taking copies with you. So that's item one. Item two is digitize. I mentioned taking a photo of your homeowner's insurance policy, and I think that's a great idea. These other items, when you make these handwritten lists, one of the things I think you should do is take a copy with you in digital form. It may not be easy to access it, but it'll be a backup for your paper documents, for your hard copy documents, and it'll be something that will be easy to access. Couple of things. The first place I want you to put it is on a cloud drive. Use Dropbox, use Google Drive, use something like that, but take that information and put it on a drive that you can access from anywhere. Very, very important. You can maybe access it with your phone, with a laptop, maybe you're at a hotel and you're using one of their computers. You can access that information if you need it. The other thing I want you to do is copy that information onto a flash drive. You know what those things look like. And write your name on one side and your phone number on the other side in Sharpie in case an honest person picks it up. But I want you to keep it very, very close, because the last thing that you need is an identification theft problem. You don't want somebody to be able to get all of this critical information, so be very careful with it. And make sure that who you're traveling with, the key adult, someone else, knows where this information is. Hey, I'm going to keep it in my left front pocket. Hey, it's going to be in the glove box of the truck. Make sure they know where it is and how to access it. If you want to encrypt it, if you have that level of sophistication, it's probably a good idea too. Bearing in mind, if you encrypt it, you're going to need the same kind of encryption program probably to decrypt it when you get somewhere else, and you may not have that available to you. And I feel strong enough about this that I'm willing to help you. What we will do at our agency is, if you will bring this information to us, we'll scan it directly to you in a way that we can't look at. We'll just simply scan it to your email, and it will show up in your email, and you'll have it all there. I will ask a couple of things of you if you do that. Number one, we're glad to have you, but please make an appointment so it doesn't interfere with our normal workday and with what we're doing for our clients. And the second thing is, if you would have everything in an 8.5 by 11 format, because that way we can feed it through our scanner very quickly. We've done a lot of work, obviously, scanning receipts and things like that, and having to stack up grocery receipts and try to play Jenga on the top of the copier takes a long time, and it's very inefficient. And frankly, right now, time is very precious. So if you would, get those things that you want us to scan and put them in 8.5 by 11 format, and we'll shoot them to you. I'll put you at my machine if you're worried about me seeing your data, and I'll show you how to feed it in there and email it to yourself, and you'll have it in your email that you can access from your phone or your computer or whatever you need to. The final thing I'm going to tell you to do with all this information is, again, I told you I want you to have hard copies of this. This makes it good for you. Go get a box of Ziploc freezer bags, I don't care what size. Write your name and contact information on those freezer bags in a Sharpie, something that's not going to easily rub off if it gets wet, and put them in there. You're going to want to keep them dry. That's very, very important. And then, just like with the flash drive I was talking about, put it somewhere safe. Put it somewhere that it's not going to be easily found by someone that might want that information for bad purposes, and make sure someone in your party that's traveling with you, another adult, somebody responsible, knows where that information is going to be. You might even discuss beforehand, hey, if we're going to leave town, we're going to take this information and we're going to stick it under the passenger side floor mat of the blue car, something like that. Again, all of this is going to be posted to our page. And what I want to tell you is, again, I want to remind you all that I don't think we're going to catch this in the teeth again. Hopefully this is just an exercise, a practice in preparation, and it can be part of your recovery process as well. And remember, at the end of the day, as trite as this sometimes sounds, it's just stuff. I think a lot of us have come to understand what's most important, and we've got a reminder that just having our family safe and with us, we can rebuild our lives, and we can buy insurance that will pay off, we hope, and get us back to where we need to be eventually. But having our safety, our health, and our family around us is the most important. I realize I've spit a lot at you right here today. You've been drinking from a fire hose on this one. But again, I'm going to post this information in a readable, very easy to digest format on our Facebook page. Give me about 30 minutes or so to do that. And again, thanks for staying with us for 60 episodes long. I never would have believed we'd have been there. And we'll see you as usual on Wednesday. Thanks.